Apologies, Hans. It's difficult to hear over the music. Is that all you needed from me?
梁处长，处长好，处长好。报告署长，我们再过2分多就开始。谢谢署长，谢谢，也欢迎副署长，也欢迎我们组长、科长还有秘书长。
好喽，这样有听到吗？可以啊。
Ladies and gentlemen, our dear guests online and on-site, Welcome to our event today, APEC Skills Development Capacity Building Alliance Project. Today, we are promoting APEC Innovative Caregiving through Digital Upskilling Workshop. Ladies and gentlemen, as the MC for this event, I have to first introduce all of our guests on-site and online. When introduced, please smile through your eyes because you're wearing a face mask, and wave your hand. Ladies and gentlemen, I have the honor of welcoming our host, Workforce Development Agency Director General, Mr. Cai Mengliang. 署长好. Welcome. Our host, Director General, Mr. Cai. And now, ladies and gentlemen, welcoming our Deputy Director General, Mr. Lin Hongde 副署长. 副署长好. Welcoming Director of the Planning Division of WDA, Mr. Hou Songyan. 组长好. Ladies and gentlemen, and now welcoming our Section Chief of the Planning Division of WDA, Huang Zheshang. 黄科长好. And now, ladies and gentlemen, welcoming Secretary General of the Chinese Management Association, 张玉山秘书长. 秘书长好. Ladies and gentlemen, and now moving on to our VIP guests joining us online, please welcome APEC HRD WG-CBM Coordinator, Rosanna Urdaneta. Hello, welcome. She's waving her hand, I can see that, thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, and now please welcome APEC Policy Support Unit of APEC Secretariat, Analyst Emmanuel San Andres. Welcome. Thank you for joining us. And now please welcome Aged Care Centre of Excellence at TAFE, New South Wales, Australia, Program Lead Karina Robinson. G'day. Welcome. And now, ladies and gentlemen, welcoming Coordinator of Institutional Management, Ministry of Education, Culture Research and Technology from Indonesia, Pitoyo Nugroho. Welcome, Coordinator. And now, ladies and gentlemen, welcoming Direction of Technological Innovation in Education, Ministry of Education, Peru, Director Victor Gustavo Friend Merendez. Hola, buenos dias. Welcome. And now, ladies and gentlemen, welcoming Technical Education and Skills Development Authority from the Philippines, Acting Executive Director Lorenzo Emmanuel Guillermo. Welcome. Thank you for joining us. Thank you. Welcome, Director. And now, ladies and gentlemen, welcoming Thai German Institute from Thailand, President Somchai Jakarin. Welcome. Sadika. Ladies and gentlemen, and now welcoming Department for General Economic Issues and Integration Studies, Central Institute for Economic Management, Vietnam, Director Nguyen An Duong. Welcome, Director. Thank you for joining us. Cảm ơn. And now, ladies and gentlemen, welcoming the College of Biomedical Engineering, CMU, Chinese Taipei, Dean Professor Eric Zhuang. 欢迎庄院长. We have many guests, and the list goes on. Please bear with me. Welcoming International and Cross-Strait Education Office, National Taipei University of Nursing and Health Sciences, Director Lin Liru. 林主任好. And now, ladies and gentlemen, welcoming Chinese Management Association Consultant, Li Qingshun Consultant. 李顾问好. And now, welcoming the following APEC economies. Welcoming Peru. Thank you for joining us. Welcoming Australia. Thank you for joining us. Welcoming Brunei. Thank you for joining us. And also welcoming organizations joining us from Chinese Taipei, National Development Council. Welcome. Department of International and Cross-Strait Education, Ministry of Education. Welcome. Department of General Planning, Ministry of Foreign Affairs. Welcome. Training and Development Division of WDA. Welcome. Competency Standards and Skills Evaluation Division of WDA, welcome. Employment Services Division of WDA, also welcome. And Workforce Development and Innovation Center of Workforce Development Agency, welcome. And of course, Workforce Development Innovation Center of Workforce Development Agency from the Ministry of Labor, welcome. And please welcome Taipei Keelung Ilan Hualien Kinmen Matsu branch of WDA. Thank you for joining us and welcoming Taoyuan Hsinchu Miaoli Regional Branch of WDA. Thank you for joining us. And also, last but not least, the Skills Evaluation Center of Workforce Development Agency from the Ministry of Labor. Thank you all for joining us on-site and online. Ladies and gentlemen, and now for the opening remarks, please join me in welcoming our host, Director General of the Workforce Development Agency, Ministry of Labor, Director General Mr. 蔡孟良，署长好，恭请署长为我们致辞。
APEC HRD-WG Lead Shepherd Professor Dongsun Park, APEC HRD-WG CBN Coordinator Ms. Rosana Urdaneta, distinguished guests, colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. On behalf of Workforce Development Agency, Ministry of Labor, I sincerely welcome your participation in the ASD-CBA project, promoting APEC innovative caregiving through digital upskilling workshop. The WDA has been keeping long-term relations with APEC partners and made many projects successful in vocational training. The final goal of vocational training is to promote employment. Here today, in order to match workforce development with industry talent needs, the WDA aims to harness the development of overseas and local industries and facilitate training model with the latest trends. Due to the rapid change in technology and the spread of pandemic, the labor market now face new challenges of transformation of traditional jobs. Yet it also creates new opportunity of working style. Today, countries have been trying to harness the core skills for the further of work and to build workforce that could keep pace with the quick change. In addition, cross-cutting resources have been used for planning of feasible programs. Through this dialogue today, I look forward to seeing experts from academia and industry sectors to explore best practice and ways for the update caregivers, digital upskilling, and hope to witness a fruitful exchange in this workshop in order to lay a more solid basis for further regional cooperation. Last but not least, I would like to once again express my appreciation to all delegates and experts for attending this workshop today. Since this event only makes a starting point of exchange, we will continue deepening Taiwan's relations and friendship with partners. My best wishes to the success of this forum. Thank you very much for your participation. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you to our Director General, Mr. Tsai, our host, Director General of the Workforce Development Agency, Ministry of Labor. Thank you so much, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, and now also for the opening and welcoming remarks, please join us in welcoming Professor Dongsun Park, APEC HRD WG Lead Shepherd. Professor Park. 안녕하세요. Okay, we're trying to overcome some technical difficulties with the audio of Professor Dongsun Park.
First, Japan became a super-aged society as early as 2005. Therefore, it has successfully developed diverse policies and programs to support seniors. Most projects focus on lifestyle support, revitalization of the local community, and provision of regular health care. In addition, under the Grand ICT Vision Policy, the Japanese National Institute of Advanced Industrial Science and Technology developed a caregiving robot called Paro. Since 2005, more than 4,000 Paros are used as neurological therapeutic medical robots in hospitals and homes in Japan, and also all over the world in some 30 economies. Similarly, the United States provides a Care Angel medical service since 2016. It is an AI-based system to monitor seniors' healthy life cycles. 3 times a day, seniors receive regular phone calls from the AI software and answer questions on sleep patterns, medication, and physical and emotional health. Likewise, Korea also utilizes AI in caregiving services. Korea's telephone companies, such as SK Telecom, KT, and LGU Plus, each have invented AI speakers, AI robots, and AI and VR software programs to support seniors with dementia and provide medication guidance. Moreover, many other APEC member economies and companies are developing an ambient assisted living environment for elderly people. They are pursuing a society where seniors can maintain and monitor their daily health and wellness, have safe mobility, experience social inclusion, and ensure leisure. The public health and caregiving system has become a foundation for APEC's inclusive and quality economy and society. Good caregiving contributes to remedying chronic illness and disabling conditions. Caregiving also provides individuals with a sense of fulfillment and a feeling of usefulness. More importantly, caregiving establishes extended social networks, which are foundations to the meaning of life. Therefore, we need quality caregiving human resources who are competent with not only professional medical knowledge, but also good communication, interpersonal skills, and good characteristics such as patience and compassion. In this connection, I hope that today's workshop will be a useful opportunity for all APEC member economies to discuss exemplary caregiving policies and programs. I believe that our efforts would help establish a comprehensive public and private care system for seniors and for people with disabilities. With concerted efforts, we can develop a holistic patient-centered and integrated care system, as well as a community-oriented regional care system in the Asia-Pacific region. Before closing my remark, I wish to express our deep appreciation to all the esteemed presenters, moderators, panelists, and participants for taking time and effort for this workshop. I wish you all the best and great success of the workshop. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Professor Dong-Sung Park, our APEC Human Resource Development Working Group lead shepherd. Thank you for your wonderful welcome and opening remarks. Ladies and gentlemen, also for the welcoming and opening remarks, I would like to now invite APEC Human Resource Development Working Group Capacity Building Network Coordinator, Ms. Rosanna Urdaneta. Rosanna, please turn on your microphone. We can see you, but
Yes. Yeah, thank you. Sorry for that. Mr. Meng Liang Chai, Director General, Workforce Development Agency, Ministry of Labor. Professor Dong Sun Park, HRDWG Lead Shepherd. Distinguished keynote speakers and panelists. representatives from 21 APEC member economies, colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. It is my pleasure to welcome you all to the APEC Skills Development Capacity Building Alliance Project Workshop. Thank you to our colleagues from the Chinese Taipei Capacity Building Network team for inviting me here today to welcome you in this workshop. Let me first of all take this opportunity to congratulate the Chinese Taipei CBN team for organizing this workshop, which is part of the ASD-CBA project. As we all know, the ASD-CBA project has long been an initiative by Chinese Taipei, which has a goal of promoting skills development for the 21st century talents workforce, employability, and competency standards. It also serves as a collaborative platform to share experiences and best practices among member economies. With the team promoting APEC innovative caregiving through digital upskilling, the workshop intends to upskill the APEC region caregivers in the face of worldwide digitalization and pandemic. This is very timely given the technological changes happening because of the fourth industrial revolution and the labor market changes it brings in terms of skills and competency requirements of our people. Likewise, the COVID 19 pandemic and our respective economies' post pandemic recovery would require the upskilling and reskilling of workers, including the caregivers. This workshop gives a very good opportunity to highlight why capacity building plays a pivotal role in ensuring that our economies, workforce, and human resources in general are able to respond to the skills needs of the new world of work. The capacity building network, as you may know, is an important structure in the HRDWG that focuses on the transformation of human resources management to respond to the skills and human resources requirements of the industry in order to enhance employability to support post pandemic recovery across economies. May I share that we have initiated, together with APEC CBN member economies, the CBN Roadmap 2021 to 2025. This roadmap has identified four strategic directions, which will be the overarching themes of the roadmap. We have adopted this from the presentation of Dr. Li Chung of Taipei's Chung-Hua Institution for Economic Research during the CBN meeting last May. Number one, foster an environment for the cultivation of a new mindset towards capacity building. Number two, encourage economies to prioritize strengthening the digital capacity of their constituents through formal and informal means. Number three, undertake efforts to reskill and upskill workers in response to post pandemic economic recovery, restyle capacity building initiatives to take into consideration new or updated systems, processes, and procedures. Despite the challenges and limitations brought about by the COVID 19 pandemic, I am really glad to see initiatives like the ASD CBA project in the CBN. In closing, I would like to encourage every economy to actively participate in this workshop because its success would be dependent on all of you. I am hopeful that by the end of the 2 hour workshop, you may be able to develop a training package that is purposeful in promoting innovative caregiving practices and be able to acquire new ideas for best practices of digital training for caregivers as well in the implementation of digital technology of practical solutions for caregivers and apply them to your respective economies. Once again, thank you and good afternoon.
And we thank you very much for your wonderful opening remarks. Thank you, Madame Rosanna Urdaneta, APEC HRD-WG-CBN Coordinator. Ladies and gentlemen, it is now time for our group photo. So please welcome our cameraman to scan our VIP guests on site. 我们现在请我们动态摄影师为我们进行大合照。动态摄影师请。报告署长，我们分3段。第一段，动态摄影师扫描；第二段，平面摄影师拍摄；第3段呢，实体线上一起拍摄。好，来，动态摄影师。We smile through our eyes. Ladies and gentlemen, we have 3 parts for our group photo. Part 3 would be including our guests online. We smile through our eyes. Okay. 好，我们动态摄影师 OK? Very good. 平面摄影师 Now, 报告署长。平面摄影师，我们来点变化，比个赞好吗？比个赞。Our digital upskilling workshop， 赞。Thank you, thank you. Now, our guests online, please join us for the group photo. So this picture, please don't take Andy. Andy is not important. Okay, please take our guests. Yes, please take our guests and everybody online. First photo, smile through your eyes. 麻烦导播 long 景，一次就有所有的线上的5位长官。麻烦导播 long 景。哎，对，好，这张我们要截图的，所以一定要平面的模式。好 ，smile through our eyes. Okay, now our guests online, you are in the group photo. If you can hear me, Andy, I'm at your service as the MC. If you can hear me, please thumbs up for our workshop. Can you do that? Okay. Did you see our guests on site? Everybody thumbs up. Yes. Big thumb. Okay. Thank you so much. Digital Upskilling Workshop. In Taipei, we call this 赞. Digital Upskilling Workshop. 赞. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone, for our group photo. Now that we have group photo completed, it is time to move on to our keynote speech. Topic number 1, structural reform and the future of work. In this part, we will be talking about what is the best vocational training model to ensure care workers that they're geared up to respond to digitalization and automation. So, in other words, we will be focusing on the best training model for the future. And we will be talking about some examples from Asia Pacific region. Now, welcoming our keynote speaker, please welcome Mr. Emmanuel San Andres, Analyst, Policy Support Unit of APEC. Please.
Thank you very much. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, colleagues. First, I would like to thank Chinese Taipei for organizing this workshop on digital upskilling. It is very timely considering the massive movement to remote work and online learning, especially after COVID-19. Next slide, please. This presentation aims to provide some preliminary insights and findings from our ongoing study on structural reform and the future of work. The study is the theme of this year's flagship APEC Economic Policy Report of the Economic Committee. It is quite macroeconomic in perspective, but it has strong intersections with this workshop's objectives, and hopefully it sets the context for the discussions later on. My presentation will have 3 parts. The first part will focus on the 4 mega drivers of change that have been affecting the future of work even before COVID-19. This is followed by a discussion on how COVID-19 pandemic affected workers and the world of work, accelerating the impacts of the mega drivers of change, as well as interacting with existing vulnerabilities in the economy and society. I will then round up with the discussion with some of the policy implications, as well as a role for APEC in addressing future of work challenges, with a specific focus on some findings regarding firms' perceptions on skills development in the future. Next slide, please. This slide shows 4 selected charts on these mega drivers of change. The upper left chart maps the progression of Moore's law, which observes that transistors per integrated circuit doubles every 2 years. The chart shows an exponential growth in this relationship, which has held for the past half century. I like this chart because it shows the accelerating power of digital technologies. This, among others, explains why computers are now more powerful, smaller, and cheaper. The first waves of automation saw robots edging out humans in agriculture, then eventually in factories. And now we see majority of employment in the APEC region in services. Further developments in computing power and artificial intelligence are seeing humans replaced in routine office services or even professional services. But technology has also opened new opportunities for jobs in new industries and opportunities for skills development online, with new occupations such as app developer or cloud engineer being created and opportunities for learning even as old ones become obsolete. The chart on the right shows the growth in APEC carbon footprint over the past 3 decades. Whether the total magnitude or on a per capita basis, APEC's contribution to human-induced climate change is clear. The International Labour Organization projects that a global temperature increase of 1.5 degrees Celsius will result in the loss of 2.2% of total hours worked, 80 million jobs, and $2.4 trillion worldwide by 2030. Globalization has been the driving force for growth in the APEC region by providing access to new markets, leading to an increase in output and better job opportunities. However, while specialization improves efficiency in the economy, non-competitive industries may not survive, and some workers can become structurally unemployed. The chart on the lower left shows the declining share of labor income in GDP, which is a trend that has been observed in APEC as well as other economies over the past 3 decades. It illustrates at a macro level the growing inequality between labor and capital, in part due to the lower bargaining power of labor in the face of globalization pressures. However, it is important to note that the gains from globalization also provide a fiscal space to improve access to basic services such as healthcare, including for vulnerable and disadvantaged groups. Finally, the chart on the lower right shows the current and projected trajectory of APEC's population. Compared to 2010 levels, there are now more people aged 45 and above, while the number of people aged 44 and below has either stagnated or receded. This is already affecting the dependency ratios in many economies, destabilizing the financial viability of healthcare, pension, and social protection systems. But it should also be recognized that the elderly members of the population are key contributors to the economy. The elderly have greater spending power, bring lifelong experience to the workplace, and are the source of significant demand, especially in the care professions such as the one we're focusing on today. So all this has been happening over the past half century, changing how we live and how we work. Then last year, COVID-19 happened. Next slide, please. COVID-19 led to the worst economic contraction that the APEC region has experienced since its inception. Policy measures to control the pandemic, such as lockdowns, border restrictions, and workplace closures, led to a near halt in economic activity. The trade, transport, and commercial services sectors were hit especially hard. Overall, the APEC region's economy contracted by 1.9% in 2020. Next slide, please. Employment in APEC also took a hit due to COVID-19. As economic activity slowed down and businesses shuttered, workers found themselves unemployed, furloughed, or with reduced work hours. An estimated 99 million full-time equivalent jobs were lost in APEC in 2020. 42 million of them were due to employment losses, about 43 million due to reduced hours, and 14 million jobs were lost due to unrealized growth opportunity. And the impact of these jobs losses were most felt among vulnerable groups like the poor, women, and minority workers, who disproportionately bore the brunt of employment losses and lack of opportunity for remote work during the pandemic. Next slide, please. Next slide. COVID-19 also accelerated uptake of digital solutions and remote working arrangements. Prior to the pandemic, this workshop would have been conducted in person rather than online. We have seen how delivery apps and digital solutions help businesses and consumers transact with each other while maintaining social distancing and lockdown rules. The chart on the left shows that opportunity to work remotely is directly related to an economy's income status, with poorer workers in poorer economies being less able to work remotely. This shows the impact of digital divide on how economies can cope with crises and adapt to a digital economy. Moreover, while digitalization and automation have been vital to the survival of many firms, it also has impacts on the type of skills that will be required by the labor market. The table on the right shows the skills that are growing in demand and those that are decreasing. We can see that demand is higher for skills that are related to the digital economy and require digital access, while jobs that are routine and rules-based are on the decline as they become automated. It is worth noting that jobs in caregiving in healthcare sectors are not on this list. Next slide, please. As we go into the policy discussion on the future of work, please allow me to show you a meme to some of the discussion so far. So memes have been called the future of communication. So I think it's just apt that we talk about future of work using how our children and are communicating these days. The mega drivers of change plus the COVID-19 pandemic have been long-term as well as acute cataclysmic events. Business as usual is not an option on dealing with future of work issues. So governments, firms, and workers, and even the care industry will need to adapt to the new environment. Next slide, please. The mega drivers of change plus COVID-19 have given us highly dynamic economies and improved technology and analytical capacity. These have provided opportunities for higher productivity and efficiency. However, they have also made jobs and incomes more precarious, making it difficult for people and families to smooth consumption and invest in human development. The economic and labor institutions developed in the 19th and 20th centuries are now having to face up to 21st century realities. If history is to be a guide, the correct response often lies towards more technology and efficiency rather than less. However, there is also a need to address real and immediate human security needs. Addressing the humanity-old questions of health and health can spell the difference between dystopic or optimistic future. Policy can help tip the balance, particularly in skills upgrading and retraining. Next slide, please. In the study, among other issues, we explore how the future of skills training may look like in the context of future of work challenges. While we do not focus on the caregiving industry per se, these findings may provide some useful insights as well. In this chart, we see how firms aim to address changing skills needs. The darker the color, the more firms, it means the more firms responded affirmatively to do that action. Based on the survey conducted by the World Economic Forum, it seems firms mainly expect existing workers to pick up new skills on the job. This is followed by plans to retrain workers and to hire new employees with the required skills. The next dark color you will see on the chart is to automate the tasks whenever possible. This tells us that retraining is something mostly seen by firms as happening inside the firm, and skills are something the workers either pick up by doing or by structured in-house training. Next slide, please. This chart discusses the expected length of reskilling from the point of view of the firms. The proportions in this chart show what percentage of their workforce the firms think will require a certain length of reskilling, with presumably larger skills gaps requiring longer training. Based on this data, firms expect that half the workers will require about 1 to 3 months of training to meet their skills gaps, while a quarter of workers will require about a year, more than a year of training. This indicates that for majority of workers, the perceived skills gap is not too high, that it will require very long periods of training. Instead, firms expect that short courses of a few months should suffice to upgrade the skills of their workers. Next slide, please. As for who the firms expect to do the training, the plurality response is internal learning and development. In other words, firms plan to do the retraining themselves. This is followed by external online training providers and in private training providers. On the other hand, educational institutions and public training providers do not seem to be as popular among the surveyed firms. However, we note that these results are for a wide range of firms covering all sectors of the economy. Preferences might be different in specific and regulated sectors such as healthcare, where formal credentials and licenses could be more important. Next slide, please. So the previous 3 slides asked firms what they plan to do in terms of reskilling and upskilling their own workforce. In this slide, which is taken from a different survey, firms were asked what they think their peers are doing in terms of investing in skills development. My apologies for the sound of the background if you hear it. There's some work being done outside. And the outlook looks very different when they are asked what they think their peers are doing. There's a very wide variation across economies when it comes to perceived investment in skills training or upgrading. If we consider that skills development is everyone's job, then we should be expecting scores of 90 to 100% in this survey. The APEC average, however, is 60, and the variation between economies is very wide, which means that even from the point of view of the private sector, there is significant room for improvement in ensuring that all workers get the skills development they need for the future of work. Next slide, please. In conclusion and panning back out to macro level future of work issue, the study provides 5 main policy areas which are enumerated on this slide. Specifically, to develop effective social protection systems, develop skills for improve productivity, design efficient labor market regulations, address cross-border issues, and promote a tripartite approach, which includes voices from all sectors of society. But in the interest of time, I will not discuss them one by one. And I would summarize my discussion and say that the mega drivers of change, the 4 mega drivers of change that we discussed earlier, plus COVID-19 have presented significant challenges in the future of work and the future of skills development as well. This workshop, taking caregiving skills development to the digital world, helps address 2 of the mega drivers mentioned earlier, namely technological change and demographic change. It is very responsive to the needs of both the industry and of the economy. It is a very timely and relevant in addressing the challenges the region will be facing in the foreseeable future in terms of future of work as well as demographic change and aging. Thank you, and I look forward to today's discussions.
Wonderful presentation. Thank you, Mr. Emmanuel San Andres, on the topic of structural reform and the future of work. Ladies and gentlemen, now it's time to move on to our presentation number 2, keynote speech number 2. The topic is competencies in caregiving, insights from innovative approaches. Now, this topic covers rapid changes in all industries, including caregiving, to face unprecedented workforce planning, reskilling, and upskilling challenges. Now, with so many challenges, a training package is needed in caregiving to provide relevant stakeholders a chance to address the issues of conducting smart work. Now, this training package may change the future work functions, tasks, skills, requirements, and demand for the mentioned fields. Now, this is a big topic, so we have 2 keynote speakers to share this one topic. They are Ms. Ling Li-Ru, who is the Director of International and Cross-Strait Education Office, National Taipei University of Nursing Health Sciences, Chinese Taipei. And also another speaker is Mr. Li Qingshun, Consultant of Chinese Management Association, Chinese Taipei. So we have 2 speakers for one exciting topic. So ladies first. Please welcome Ms. Lin, Director of International and Cross-Strait Education Office, National Taipei University of Nursing and Health Sciences, Chinese Taipei. Ms. Lin, please.
Hi, dear all delegates. I'm very happy to, on behalf of the National Taipei University of Nursing and Health Science, to present this topic about the prospect of digital upskilling needs for the caregiver in aging care. Actually, the next page, please. Actually, in the past 2 years, it's a quite panic for the healthcare system and the aging care system as well, because the epidemic in the past 2 years, and they have access control of the hospital and the long-term care institution. And this is another policy is a staying at home. And this is a 2 policy make a lot of aging care have to think a new way how to providing a more convenient service and for the elderly or disabled who's staying at home. So that is the reason we have actually Taiwan have just initiated about home medical and home aging care for a long time ago, since the earthquake 1999. But actually, this is the issue. It doesn't be very be emphasized and be just pay attention. But in the past 2 years, because of the COVID-19, they just make a lot of people, no matter in the IT background or no matter in the aging background or the healthcare background, they just put more efforts in how to just delivering the home care and or the health care to the aging at home, or for the disabled at home, or for the some illness person at home. So that is why we have a lot of like a communication between the IT, between the aging institution, and between the hospital sites. How we can work together to make this, the healthcare system can be more capacity and more compulsory to help the people who live in home have a better quality of life and a better the healthcare, of the quality. So this is why we have in the past we have changed a lot in the Taiwan the home care systems. Next one. Next slide, please. Okay, thank you. Because actually we have a IT be advanced in the IT system in the past 10 years, and this technology, including the IoT, big data, AI, have been applied to the innovate in some digital assistive device for the medical care and for the aging care. This digital assisting device can help the hospital and the community physician to providing a more quality medical care service for the elderly and the disabled who living in the home. And the IT and high-tech industry also aware that the attention of the global needs in the aging population. So they also apply the 5G, this technology and high tech to innovate the digital assistant device in order to help the caregiver for providing more convenient and efficient of the job opportunity in providing life care and the elderly care. So that's why a lot of 5G about technology and IT, they be applied into support about the aging care group or for the home care group to providing a more efficiency about the living quality or the health care. Okay, so next one. Why the government and all the medical, the group and the healthcare group and the aging group will be so emphasized about the providing of the device for the aging care group? Because actually Taiwan in the 2018 already just adapting into the the aging institution in a society already, and we have a predict in the 2025 Taiwan will be entering to the super aging society. It means we have a lot of the aging population will be more than around 20% in the all our population. Especially I want to mention in the 2020, the aging population who over 85 years old is occupied more than 10% of our aging population. It means this group of the super old aging population, most of them are disabled, or they are not so healthy, and they need more diverse about the healthcare service and more about the home care quality when they're staying at home. So actually our government in our long-term care policy 2.0 version, we have to do a lot, the policy about how to help the elderly who's staying at home be safe, be good quality, and to be till the end of life. So actually it's mean a lot of the demanding about the home care service will be diverse and will be increased by all the family for this as a patient or for the elderly. So that's why we have do a lot research. Next page, please. We have to do a lot of research, has indicated that the caregiver, when they're providing this as a home care service, they are facing a lot of diverse, challenges when they do their service, including about their parent, the family, including their aging group, or including from a client. They can providing more functionable, service, or providing more professional, skill or knowledge to help them to have a good quality of life or to in the aging care service. So actually they are facing a lot of a challenge when they're providing the service. So a lot of investigators have just indicated a lot of caregiver, most of them are feel alone and isolated. For around the 40% to the 70% of the family caregiver, they are high risk symptom of depression. This is depression is coming from because a lot of the pressure from their working and the be expected in their job, the environment. But also this is the reason has caused a lot of qualified caregiver, like who already complete the training, they got a license, but who don't want to take the first line aging care job. Or currently the first line caregiver, the retention rate is really low. And this is a two issue has to make all the manpower of the aging care is more more serious, and we are more challenging when we're providing about the aging care service. So how can we help this aging care, the provider? They can just have a good quality of the working place. And how can we just help them to keep the good quality of living care? It really depends on how can we providing the what device for them to do this as a service and what is their really need. Okay, so actually we have a lot of other investigations conducted by the Canada government. They have to do a research about how to reducing the physical strain among the family caregiver for the chronic disease patient staying at home. The survey response that more than 60% of the caregiver, they didn't get any training in the device using and how to use a simple like the technique to minimize the risk of a physical injury when they're providing the caregiving task. So this is a really quite sad news is because we are thinking the caregiver, their working environment is not so safety, and they didn't give another good support for help them to just have a more confidence, have a good quality in their working, providing. And so actually, we have to do a lot, investigate. We have a more some target on the caregiver. What is their exactly need? To help them to upskill their skill, to give them more, just reduce their working stress. They found they need a lot of assistant technology, including about that. They need an assistant is about like they can just prevent the hazard happen and the risk prevent when they don't working, especially a lot of patient with the dementia or the elderly, they are just on the way for just a stroke. But actually, our caregiver, they didn't have if they don't have a well understanding of professional equipment, how they can just help themselves to protect themselves before they don't working, how they can have another skill to help them to just call for help when they need get some the supporting from other colleges. And also they need to allow the device to help them to just recording their working document, and also to just share about some of the data to the family, to the other care worker, or some senior professionals. So that is one digital device we need for the caregiver. The digital technology, they can providing all of these solution for the caregiver. They can just providing some skill training in the digital the device, or they can providing some data transmission from the caregiver to the aging care institution, to their family, or to the hospital sites. And also they can just enter this as a database to just figure out about what is a risk will be happen, or to predict what will be happen in this the client. So a lot the digital working can be helpful the coordinating with the professionals to help the care worker to give a more living working support, more suggestion, and more about the device, and the call for some kind of extra assistance service for when they doing this aging care, especially when they study at home. Okay, next one. Next page. So that's why the National Taipei University of Nursing Health Science, we do a lot of efforts in how to just focus on, empower about the aging care, and integrate with the smart technology to support for the aging care population, to support the hospital industry, to providing a precision healthcare. The precision healthcare and the precision aging care, we are just really emphasize about how to give the upgrade current and some the needs of the living support, care, aging care, and health care to the people who are to meet the people needs. So actually, this is what we did in our university and our research center. Next one. So our research center, we have to do a lot of research function, and to also give us other training program, and also just play as a consultant for the government and for the industry to providing a lot diverse about the aging care policy, upscale aging care program, and do a lot of research about combined with the AI and IT, and about the the chronic disease research to help the aging population can just reducing their the time they disable, to providing the good quality of their life, and just improve the aging care, the quality for the industry, and for the professionals. Next slide. And so this is what we do in our university. We have a lot just research, and the research focus on just how to help industry to resolve the problem in the reality world. In the reality world, so actually we have to do a lot of like a home smart care. We have the training license, and we also have a lot use the AI to in the diabetes, the prevention, and we also follow some research about the COVID-19. This is research just trying to help all the global society and Taiwan society to make to solve the problem in the healthcare. Next one. So this is what we developing about the home-based medical aging care, the procedure. Actually, because of this digital device be just innovate and be adopted in the Taiwan. So actually, we can thinking about the future about the aging care. We will have a lot just home care, and they can when they doing the caregiver, when they just going to the home visit, and they can just use a lot smart device. They can just do the vital sign measurement, and after this vital sign measurement, they can just upload to the interface, use the natural language processing, and they use the app and use the cloud, this computing, to help all of the data can be just saving in the cloud. And this when this saving cloud, they can help all other the aging care group including hospital side, including the home case, the management, and including about the aging institution. They can use this as a data and to figure out about what is the next the step of the caregiver should providing for the elderly, and they also can just help to prevent about some the chronic disease happen, especially like stroke, or like some infection control, or like about the dementia. So this is device digitalized. They can just help about a lot the aging care group. They can doing a lot prevention, education, or to just call for help for this the aging group. So we can provide more integrated of service for these people working in the home, and for the people who just providing a consequent continually the care service, and also to help about the hospital side to the aging institution to predict what is the next about the illness will be happen in this clan, and do about the history of tracking of these clans. So that this is this is we can thinking in the future. In the aging care, we will have a lot integration of the service with the all aging group, with the hospital side, via about this the digital device and the digital system. Okay, next one. So actually, we have already the Taiwan have developed some the digital equipment in the aging care. Actually, we have some kind of portable device. So in the very beginning, the caregiver, they just have to confirm about the needs of the community aging care group, and also the aging care teams. So they can just make a connection with the aging care material and the system, and then they can just bring this portable in the middle, the portable device. They can visit the clinic at home, and this device, they can just help about the caregiver to providing the physically measurement device. And after they just collect about their vital sign from this device, they can just like their blood pressure, blood sugar, and the blood cholesterol, and the electronic heart disease. They can just be measurement immediately, and this is the data can just reduce. It can be just automatically to be uploaded in the cloud system. This can help what? This can help about caregiver reduce about mistake happening when they just key typing or recording about this as vital sign data. And after this vital sign data be just upload in the cloud, this data can be sent and saving in the cloud, and also in the health management platform. This platform can help the care provider be tracking and adjust their care records on this system, and also can help to communicate with the other professional teams to providing a real-time of a subsequence of a support service. So this is really important. The subsequent in service, they can just feel about this, the cloud system. They can just very clear about what they can do, and what the aging care team can be helped, and what the caregiver needs to support the caregiver to just have a more clear picture what she had to do in the next step. When they providing this claim, and how to adjust about the service for the claim, and also to help the caregiver to give a good communication with other professionals, to help give them more confidence, to help them to solve the problem in the aging care that happen in the family. So next pages. So actually, we believe that all the aging care, while the the digital technology they need. They need will coordinating care, this kind of service. They can just find this digital device. They can gather all of a connection with the supervisor, nurses, and together support. And this with the support, they will give more confidence for the caregiver to keep the studying in this as a first line job, and they give them more confidence to just give the further about caregiver of service. And also they can share this as data to the family, to other the care worker, to give a more just a help profession, help promotion, and they give a more some assistance or to get a help to share of their other with the other the group aging group or the some teamwork to give the more integrated of the service and the integrated of the message be passed in doing the service. And also in this AI device and the database we just apply in this the digital device, the all of the a lot of multiple the prescription for the client, for the aging clients, they can just help the caregiver to identify the medication management. We have a lot of research and investigate a lot of caregiver. Their challenge for them is to how to give the medication management because they have so many about the different medicine be required for the aging group, especially disabled. So a lot caregiver, if they give some medication management from this digital service and digital device, they can help them to just reduce about the working stress and give them more like a support to identify the peers what the client should have to take, and from this to also to for the tracking about their medicine for this client. And of course for the home caregiver, they need is a portable device. Because actually the caregiver, they have providing a service of free of family in one day. So a portable device should be more lightweight and easy to use for the caregiver, and more easy to just upload for this data to the cloud system. Next one. So we believe about the aging care service integrate with the digital technology. They can offer a lot of practical solution for the caregiver and to thinking to solve the problem, learning the new skill and get support from this device. And also the cloud technology is convenient to pause an electronic schedule for the family or the teamwork to work together to adjusting about the aging care service, the care plan, and to even to just arrange for the continued service for this plan. So actually in the future we believe about a lot of communication diagnosis will be have happen in the cloud in the aging care group. And so they will need a lot of cloud service infrastructure and a lot of insurance payment. They can be just integrate into this cloud system to help about the aging care group, hospital group to just have a more convenience to just in their providing for the aging care or the healthcare in the home. So next pages. So we are just trying to do initiate a smart aging care training. This is the aging care training have just combined the disciplines of IT, aging care, and healthcare management. And this is can help about use a smart safety living environment to just to help about the caregiver to solve the problem when they do the service and give the care issue for the senior for each one, and they can help about the senior family and the caregiver give a personal of the care training or care plan. And also we can just decrease about the memory or communication loss when when doing the aging service. And also it can help to just empower disabled senior and with accessibility. From this device using, we can just make all of the aging reality can be just be easy to solve. And in such a kind of the manpower shortage, we can do something to improve the quality, no matter for the clan, for the aging care worker, and also for these healthcare groups. Okay, next one. So we have just collaborate with about all the Ministry of the Labor. We are just initiate of a new program, is a digital aging care training program. In this aging training program, we emphasize put a lot of digital technology into the vital sign management, and we will teach use IT system and use about some of the big data, cloud computing to just transfer this traditional the healthcare system into the all-round ways to make the healthcare and aging care more efficient and more convenient and more personalized. So actually, in this program, we will give the caregiver extra training about how to use the digital device and how to measure this digital data and how to help this data just indicates what kind of the message and how to identify the next about the care plan they need. And also we will just apply the high-tech end for the living assistant and to follow work safety for the caregiver. So from this is a high-tech assistive device be applied, and we can just help about the caregiver minimize about the manual handling risk and providing a more smart aging care. And this is the individual support and the health promotion model can just be educate and client and be empower client to give a more personalized about care plan and the re-enrollment treatments. Next one. Next, yes. So still, honestly, but we still have a lot, problem have to be solved for the when we just implicant about this as a aging, smart aging care in our society, in our aging group, because we need a more developing of a care system. We need like a developing case logistic system to help a caregiver to just have a more automatically calculate about the time and the best route for when they do the home service. And we also need a more data integrated and completing in this system. In this system, we need to allow more data and can be just spread and be expanding to the right person, to the right institution, to the right professional to give a more diverse and integrate about the service for this client who's staying at home, and to reconfirm and upload and their service and their data. And we need a lot of intercom communication to support, to give a more user-friendly device for this caregiver, because most caregiver they are in the middle 50s, so actually they are difficult to use, too complicated or too really smart device. They want to need something just simply manual button type of device to help them to do some kind of a data upload, and they help them to just read all the data and give a more clear about the decision to help them to do the further about the care training or care providing. Okay, so this is the one challenge we have to facing. And the next one, and we need to have a more easy networking device. This easy networking device, they can provide just easy to move, no need to be set up, because I mentioned the caregiver most of them, they are all already the middle age, so they are difficult to use and learn the new device. And so they need to use something very simple to apply, and there's no need to set up, and they can just follow the direction to just upload, to just operating, oh, this is a device. And next is we hope this digital physiological information management equipment can be more healthcare specific shades, because actually a lot aging care group, when they are disabled, they not only need the aging care service, they need a healthcare service. How to can make this as a service can be integrated, it depends on how your digital, this data can be just sprayed and be passed to the right person and to the right institution, and to help them to just adjust their care plan or the medical treatment. So that's why we want to list this as a smart normal healthcare development in the home base. They can be more integrated with a lot of data. Okay. So next one. And of course, the cloud-based home care system is available. In the most of the time, when we use about this digital device, the cloud-based home care system is very important to help saving the data, give the education, and also give a support for the caregiver when they do this as a service. But how you can this as the cloud-based system can be more easy readable by the caregiver, and be more easy approachable for the professionals, for the other co-workers, and also for the clients. So this is why we need a lot of support and need a lot of initiative to how to make this care system more be integrated. So that's why about in the future of this aging care skill, and of course in the facing about the digital device be just innovate, and more about the device be implement and apply. We believe the aging care service will be more challenging, and we believe the care provider or the care worker, they need more about the skill training. So we hope in the future the caregiver, they can just continue be training in their working place to help them to just love their job, to have a more competence in their job, and to help all the clients, they can get a good quality of the caring. Okay, so this is end of my briefing. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Director Lin Liru, for this wonderful, wonderful presentation. And now, for the same topic, please welcome Mr. Li Qingshun, Consultant of Chinese Management Association. Mr. Li, are you online? I can hear you.
Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. I believe Ms. Lin has already talked a great deal about the topic, so today I want to focus more on ICAP. Next slide, please. In 2012, we already came out with the ICAP standard, and we introduced the ICAP training certification system in the following year. The purpose is to ensure training quality, increase training outcomes, and to meet the demand of labor market and industries. So we use the ICAP training certification system, as Ms. Lim mentioned earlier. We need to make sure that our training meets the demand and the needs of labor market and industries. This is the flow of the ICAP we follow ADDIE model. Let me introduce each one of them. First of all, we will conduct a demand analysis. Then we would reconstruct competency content, and then we will move on to the curriculum map. Next slide. On February 3rd, 2021, we invited experts and scholars and researchers, as well as government officials, to host an expert consultation meeting to discuss healthcare industry current development and talent needs. As well as focusing on the caregiver digital skills. On June 29th of this year, we confirmed the needs of the program and defined the training objectives. We also apply Household Caregiver Competency Standard T3.1 and T4.3. There are 10 tasks. We chose 2 tasks to apply digital tools, including life monitoring and disease detection. Take a look at this. You will see what caregivers need to accomplish in terms of life monitoring and disease detection. This is the key indicators and not skills that we need to focus on. Next slide. The second task, which also require application of digital technology, is the application of daily assistive device. We compile a list of behavior indicators as well as knowledge and skills. You can see the 8 items listed here. These 2 major tasks, as well as their relevant knowledge and skills, we base on this to come up with a curriculum. On August 5th, 2021, we had another expert consultation meeting to finalize the curriculum map. There are 4 units and a training, evaluation, and examination. We also include 2 site visits and internship as well. Next slide. Then we design the training objectives and organize training contents, including all the items that we discussed earlier. Next slide. Regarding development, we also investigate instructional methods as well as practice. We also discuss teaching materials and resources, as well as learning performance and evaluation. Next slide. We will start recruitment and implement the training program in October 2021. It's a 5-day training program. Last slide. During the training, in addition to learn and use, we also hope that the performance can be increased. At the end, we will evaluate their performance and conduct feedbacks. This concludes the digital upskill training program that we have. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much to our consultant from Chinese Management Association, Mr. Li Jingshun, and thank you to our interpreters doing a wonderful job. Ladies and gentlemen, I believe it is time to take a short coffee break. How about 5 minutes, okay? We see you in 5. For the panel discussion, our moderator would be Professor Zhang Yushan, Secretary General of Chinese Management Association. We see you in 5. Thank you so much. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, stay online. Don't go away, okay? We'll see you in 5 minutes for our panel discussion. Thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, online and on-site, if you can hear me, we shall begin our panel discussion very shortly. The tea break is coming to an end. I hope you enjoyed your break. Thank you so much. Please stand by. We're coming back online for the panel discussion. Coming to you in just a few moments. And of course, as a reminder, our panelists for the panel discussion, make sure you turn your camera on and your audio on. Thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, we will be coming back to our panel discussion in 30 seconds. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. I hope you enjoyed your coffee break. It is now time for the panel discussion. Now, as MC, I'll introduce our panelists, and then I'll introduce our moderator. Ladies and gentlemen, our panelists include Ms. Karina Robinson, Program Lead of Aged Care Center of Excellence at TAFE from New South Wales, Australia. Our panelists include Mr. Pitoyo Nugroho, Coordinator of Institutional Management, Ministry of Education, Culture, Research, and Technologies from Indonesia. And our panelists also include Mr. Lorenzo Emmanuel Guillermo, Acting Executive Director, Qualification and Standards Office, Technical Education and Skills Development Authorities from the Philippines. And our panelists includes Director Ling Liru from National Taipei University of Nursing and Health Sciences, Chinese Taipei. And of course, including our panelist, Professor Eric Zhuang, Dean from the College of Biomedical Engineering, CMU, Chinese Taipei, and Mr. Somchai Jakaring, President of Thai German Institution from Thailand. And last but not least, Mr. Nguyen An Duong, Director, Department of General Economics Research and Integration Studies, Central Institution for Economic Management from Vietnam. Ladies and gentlemen, and now I would like to invite our moderator, Secretary General of Chinese Management Association, Professor Zhang Yushan. Please, Professor, the floor is yours. Welcome.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Andy. The tea break, the tea is really nice. I hope that all the virtual participants can feel the same. And we have gone through a very illuminating keynote speech, which depicts what it can be in a pandemic hampered and aging society, and in a rising need for caregivers in a society like this. With the help of technology that Chinese Taipei has demonstrated some of the effort that we have. But I think different countries with different social, economic, and status, as such, their solution or response to this common dilemma we face is different. So in this panel, we will change ideas, not solutions. So I believe that our Secretariat has supplied 6 suggested topics, including problems, solutions, techniques, or future prospect, even business model for the future. But these are suggested topics, not limited to. So all panelists are free to give out whatever they think their response to the lecture and the topic alike. And what I'll do is the following. First of all, I will follow the Secretariat, the list Secretariat has given me, and in sequence. And secondly, because we have delayed a little bit, so please observe your time. But if you have a point, make your point. Do not, time is things we want to observe, but your precious view we value most. So can I welcome Ms. Karina Robinson from TAFE to share her view. Yes, Karina, are you online?
Yes, hi, thanks very much.
The floor is yours.
Thank you. Greetings to distinguished guests and colleagues. My name is Karina, and thank you for the invitation to join the panel discussion today and speak about enhancing digital skills of caregivers and the gap between technology's transformational potential and reaching wide-scale adoption. Next slide, please. I'd like to acknowledge the traditional owners of the lands that I'm joining you from today, the Ngunnawal people, and pay my respects to elders past, present and emerging. Next slide, please. By way of introduction, my background is predominantly in aged care, where I've specialised in home care, but as a human services practitioner rather than a technologist, my perspectives are really coloured by my experiences leading the exploration and implementation of new technologies on the ground and delivering workforce training. Next slide, please. Emmanuel provided an excellent overview of the mega drivers of change at a population level in his earlier presentation. And in Australia, the health and social care sector is our largest employing industry. However, we continue to experience critical workforce shortages, and those workforce shortages are seen in the health system really around the world. As we've discussed today, our global population is ageing, we're living longer lives, and that demographic shift will increase demand for care and generate also increasing labour market pressure as the industry expands significantly faster than the broader economy. So from a technology perspective, we all agree that harnessing technology better and recognising the immense opportunities it provides to bridge the workforce gap is really something that we need to be committed to as we move forward. When I consider the gap between the transformative potential of technology and the barriers to reaching wide-scale adoption in Australia, I think the impacts of COVID can't be discounted. Older people and people with a disability have been disproportionately impacted in terms of morbidity and mortality, as have the services that support them. And obviously, we've seen some really fantastic examples of innovation and the rapid deployment of telehealth and virtual care technologies as part of the COVID response. But in many cases, the pressures generated by the pandemic have also limited the bandwidth of providers here in particular to explore new service enhancements over the last 18 months. In Australia, we've recently learned of the outcomes of the Royal Commission into Aged Care Quality and Safety, which will inform fundamental sector reforms, and included in it is a number of specific technology-related recommendations. And the Aged Care Industry Information and Technology Council have rightly identified that this presents a real opportunity to deepen our understanding of the role of technology and what it can bring in terms of improving quality and safety, as well as enhancing personalisation and productivity. In terms of skills gaps and our current level of adoption, what we really see are very disparate levels of adoption across the industry. And so on one hand, we have providers with heavily digitised workflows and technology-led service provision, which might be, for example, the integration of robotic technologies in reminiscence therapies or AI to pick up trends in clinical incidents and memory support applications. And then at the other end of the spectrum, we see providers who really haven't been able to make that same progress, and they could still be using paper client files and manual communication systems, for example. And I think there are a lot of reasons for that. We've talked a bit about financial constraints, and it's also about how well we're able to meet the skilling needs of those workforces. And that need for learning and education is really across the board, from frontline staff that are implementing technology at the point of care through to care managers who need skills to be able to leverage the insights from their data. And in some cases, it's also about business acumen skills and what's required to manage that end-to-end process to select and procure a technological product or service from a vendor. So managing those considerations is a really important part of increasing adoption. In terms of business model innovation, we've seen a real shift here in the last sort of 5 years or so to models that extend consumer choice and control. And some of those were very disruptive operating models when they first hit the market, because really it's using technology to shift the power balance from providers to consumers. And so there is a need to support staff at all levels to navigate and evolve their practice, to integrate those technologies into their work and to really champion benefits of them. At a leadership level, I think we also often see clinicians and senior managers given responsibility for shepherding in technological innovation without necessarily enough support, and those projects often fall over and can be very expensive exercises. So I think we also need to consider the auxiliary skills in change management, communication and leadership that are needed to make those innovations stick alongside those hard technical skills. Next slide, please. Looking forward, I think we're making great inroads, although we have more work to do. Education and training will continue to be a key enabler in accelerating technology adoption, and we're beginning to better understand the skilling needs of different workforce segments, whether they be people that are new to the workforce or existing workers. And I think it's also about moving away from some of the mythology in our previous thinking, such as that our age inherently determines our digital capability. We saw the term digital native coined first in the early 2000s, but really what the evidence tells us is that while younger people may often be early adopters and have different perspectives of technology because they've grown up immersed in digitally enabled cultures, factors like our socioeconomic status are much better predictors of our digital skills than our age. And so for public education providers like TAFE New South Wales, where up to 85% of our students identify with one or more markers of disadvantage, that's a really significant input that we need to consider as part of our training design, particularly when we're looking increasingly to e-learning models. As the profile of aged care recipients shifts in the coming years, and we're likely to see increasing use of assistive technologies, wearables, smart home features, and as we've heard today, our care delivery will likely continue to shift increasingly to supporting people that are ageing in the community, and we need to consider many aspects of care outside of a clinical setting, like polypharmacy, which we've just heard about. But in terms of the future care worker that might be coming through a client's front door in that delivery space, they are fast becoming frontline technical support when clients' smartwatch isn't syncing to their health app properly, for example. So we need to ensure that our workforce will have the skills to keep pace, particularly as we invest in building that health literacy of consumers and focus on customer centricity, because the change will ultimately be driven by consumers in the future market. However, I think that we also need to balance our appetite for progress with the capability and capacity of our people to sustain that change. It's really important that we look to technologies that make our work easier and improve quality of life without adding administrative burden to already stretched workforces, and that we provide the right training and support to maximise utilisation. In terms of our supporting regulatory systems, government have a role to play in establishing regulatory safeguards, particularly in the context of industries like health and social care, where the way that services operate have serious implications for public safety. And there's some great work happening in Australia at the moment, led by the Digital Health Agency, to establish common technological standards as a regulatory anchor for that safety, quality and privacy. I think the next phase of our maturing will be to genuinely integrate digital skills as foundational and move away from some of those common approaches that we see at the moment, which are for workplace training that skills workers in a particular platform or a system that that organisation might use. And instead, it's about investing in building those broad fundamental digital skills that are technology agnostic. We also need to continue to leverage our shared experience and learnings. We're more connected than we have ever been before, and that presents endless opportunities for us to support each other, to extend our thinking and leverage the international evidence to continually improve as we move forward. Next slide, please. Thank you for the opportunity to join the discussion. I've shared my contact details there. Please feel free to reach out. I would be very pleased to hear from you, and I hope that we have the opportunity to speak again in the future.
Thank you, Karina. I think we have similar questions and similar aims. The detail, too bad we don't have time for the details. I think Professor Lin, as one of the keynote speakers, has brought up many aspects of the issues. Maybe in the future that we can go in depth about those issues. I believe it will be fruitful. Also, I always like to thank for your encouragement that we older people do accept technologies. Yes, thank you. Second, let me invite Mr. Pitoya Nugroho from Indonesia. Forgive me if I pronounced the name incorrectly. Mr. Pitoyo, the floor is yours. Hello?
Keynote speaker and then dear for panelists. My name is Pray Nugro, and I'm working at Ministry of Education and Culture, Research and Technology, and especially at Directorate of Senior Vocational High Schools. And then I would like to share our policy or programs, especially in vocational high school, in terms of health and social services in Indonesia. Next slide, please. Yes, this one is the numbers of students and vocational high school in Indonesia. As we can see at the slides, we have a huge number actually in the vocational high schools. We have more than 5 million students at vocational high school, and then one of 9 fields, because we have actually 9 fields from technology and engineering, and then business and management until number 9 is energy and mining. So you can see at the slide, number 5 is health and social services, like Caregiving is including at that field. And then the numbers of the vocational high school, the private sector, and then the public is at the health and social services. We have more than 1,500, and then the public is more than 200 schools. This one is, I think, is a challenge over us because we have a huge number at vocational schools, and then huge number at vocational school at health and social services. And according to Census of Population in Indonesia, the interesting is we have 2 divided groups. The first is the productive age, and then second is the senior age. So I think is apa namanya? So I think is influenced at our policy at the vocational high schools, because in the one sector is we have a lot of productive age, so we have to maintain how to prepare the big number at productive age to become a productive people. And then the second is how we take care of the senior age. Next slide, please. This one is analogy of from demand side and supply sides, because the main aim of our degree of educational, the big main aims of vocational school is how we prepare the graduates to ready for working. So we have to know about demand sides from world of work from industry, and then we have to know supply sides. Demand side is always dynamics, because they have for take care of graduates, and they always have student must be competent, should be have a good at the soft skill and the hard skills. So the vocational school, they should be decreasing the gaps. So the unemployability should be decreased too. So this our policy is with link and match, and the number of link and match including of 9 numbers. The first is how we arrange the curriculums with the industry until number second is project-based learning until the 9 is scholarships and commercial bond or donations. So in this discussion today, I'm just explain one of part of link and match curriculum. Next, please. Oh, next, please, because we just have 31 seconds. Yeah. Next. Okay, this one is, as you can see at the slides, at the blues, this one is the curriculum 2018, and the green is 2021 curriculum. As we can see in here, there is a several big difference between the last curriculum and the new curriculum. Next slide, please. The first is the weights. According to last curriculum, the weights of apa namanya, the weights of non-vocational subjects and the vocational subject is about 39 39%, and now we have only 45% in non vocational subjects. And the second is the chances and at our curriculum is now is how we maintain that the theory or academic subjects like math, like physics, like chemistry is now included at the vocational subjects. And then the third is to educate a student to sharpen the problem solving ability, to strengthen compositional thinking, and then to reboot days through digital media for 2 semesters. So we included how to for the students is they don't know about the computational thinking and logic thinking. And then now we have new subjects. We call it with internships. So internship should be as a subject at the vocational school at a generic curriculum in Indonesia. And then we have another change at their new curriculum is 2 until 3 optional subjects. So it could be how we strengthen the student with the digital marketing, multimedia, and then foreign language. And then the last is how we create the soft skill, how we increase the character of soft skill of the student with the apa namanya compulsory co-curricular, free expanded content by school and teachers. And the next slide, please. Okay, thank you so much. Because the time is only 5 minutes, so I have to rush to explain our game. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Although the time is short, I think your message is clear. The translation is coming to my mind. Okay, no, it's okay. Sorry. We are undergone similar transformation. Too bad we don't have people from Ministry of Education here, but we are glad that you facing the challenging world and adopt the right move. Okay, we wish you a great success. Subsequently, let me invite Mr. Lorenzo Emmanuel Guillermo. You have to forgive me. The American has ruined my tongue, so I couldn't speak fluent Spanish. So from Philippines. So Mr. Lorenzo, the floor is yours.
Thank you. First, my respect to the Director General and key officials of the Workforce Development Agency, the distinguished guests and representatives of the APEC member economies. I wish to congratulate the Chinese Taipei for organizing this workshop that seeks to promote APEC innovative caregiving through digital upskilling. A safe and pleasant day to everyone. I shall share innovative caregiving practices that empower public and private stakeholders. These are the caregivers, the training service providers, authorities in technical, vocational education and training in the context of a competency-based training framework, giving highlight on the benefits that employees and employers can derive from such innovative caregiving practices. Next slide, please. So an array of technology-based interventions has increasingly become available to support family caregivers, primarily focusing on health and well-being, social isolation, financial, and psychological support. More recently, the emergence of new technologies such as mobile and cloud, robotics, connected sensors, virtual, augmented, mixed reality, voice, and the ever more ubiquitous tools supported by advanced data analytics, coupled with the integration of multiple technologies through platform solutions, have opened a new era of technology-enabled interventions that can empower and support family caregivers. Next slide. So the emerging technologies that give promising directions for family caregivers include the following: the enhanced Internet of Things and technology platforms, voice, remote monitoring or telehealth, mobility autonomous vehicles, assistive technologies, virtual augmented mixed reality, financial technologies, machine intelligence, which covers in artificial intelligence and machine learning. Next slide. Next slide, please. So the challenges that we face in applying technology solution include equity, inclusion, and access. This is very common in the Philippines. Ethical concerns, privacy and security, interoperability and lack of standards, and inclusive or human-centric design. Next slide. So the advantage of competency-based training for employers. So my context of empowering our caregivers come in the context of competency-based training. And competency-based training, employers and employees derive advantages from the competency-based training. So first, this ensures the corporate training and professional development activities are cost-effective, goal-oriented, and productive. It establishes a framework for constructive performance assessments by management and at scheduled intervals. It improves communication between employers, employees, and management. It improves quality of products and services. It increases internal employee mobility and cross-training, providing the organization with greater ability to scale and flex as needed. Next slide. Outlines employee development and promotional paths within the organization's succession plan, records the employee's acquisition of the skills, knowledge, safety, and other procedures relating to each task through competency-based interviews, reduces overruns caused by poor performance or miscommunication of job expectancies, standardizes performance across the organization, and targets specific training needs. Next slide. For the employees, the advantage that can be derived from competency-based training is it enables employees to be more proactive beyond their individual roles by learning additional skills that are valued by the organization. It ensures that individual professional development and training milestones are recorded and acknowledged by the organization. It gives employees insight into the overall strategy of their team, department, and organization, leading to greater engagement and motivation, and it increases the potential for job satisfaction. Next slide. It offers a reference resource for day-to-day job requirements, provides a mechanism for the recognition of employees' abilities, provides clear direction for learning new job skills, and sets clear expectations for employees, enabling them to make better decisions and work more effectively. Next slide. So in conclusion, the pace of innovation in technology is accelerating, and within a decade, previously unimagined technology will shape much of our experiences of living, aging, and caregiving. And throughout history, technological advances have had unintended consequences on society. Just like automobiles improve access to jobs, healthcare, and services, yet the accompanying pollution has had a negative environmental impact. Next slide. So the internet has democratized access to information, but largely unchecked, social media and online programs can sometimes harm individuals, including family caregivers. Ultimately, there is a need to balance the benefits and promises of new technologies with their unintended consequences and risks. And how to keep pace with the speed of technology will be the one constant challenge in ensuring that remains relevant to practice. However, in the long term, it is the very nature of technology's rapid evolution that will increasingly make technology a crucial element in improving support for and the well-being of family caregivers. Next slide. Next slide, please. Training plays a major role in the advancement of technology, and in a competency-based training program, both the employer and the employee benefit. Personal judgment and subjectivity are minimized, creating a more positive work environment and a stronger relationship between employee and employer. This is the result of establishing transparent workforce planning, performance standards, performance assessments, and succession plans. Next slide. As a final note, I borrowed the statement of businessman and futurist Alvin Toffler, and I'd like to quote that the illiterate of the 21st century will not be those who cannot read and write, but those who cannot learn and relearn. This is where we draw the context of our upskilling program. The abrupt shifts to virtual and socially distant learning are challenging the capacity and traditional competencies of our workforce. Hence, the best practices of innovative caregiving will effectively empower public and private stakeholders. These are the caregivers, the training service providers, as well as the TVET authorities. And thus, the sharing of best practices of innovative caregiving will serve as the avenue for the public and private stakeholders to relearn and learn the knowledge, mindsets, and skills necessary to succeed in a post-COVID world. Thank you, and it was a pleasure being with you and participating in this workshop this afternoon. Thank you.
Thank you, Lawrence. We benefit greatly from your talk. I think you have put out a missing puzzle that vocational training, as opposed to vocational education just presented by our fellow friends from Philippines. So we benefit greatly, and thank you. Let's move on to the subsequent panelists. Oh, my countrymen. So let's welcome Professor Lin from National Taipei University of Nursing Health and Science, Chinese Taipei. Professor Lin, are you there?
Yep. Thank you for the host and moderator. And actually, I just give my presentation to mention about what the digital skill need for a caregiver and what kind of a training they can be just be adapted in the fundamental skill training. So I believe I give some kind of picture of what the Taiwan are doing and what we expect about the device be just innovate and what digital skill can be helpful for the caregiver. But I have to share a truly happen in the Taiwan in the higher education system or vocational education system. Actually, Taiwan, we have a lot of different aging training professional program, no matter it's a degree or a non-degree of a training. But truly what we are doing is a lot, the young worker, or they don't want to participate in the aging care industry. Why? Because one is another social economic suppose is not enough. The second is aging care industry. They didn't providing a good workplace and treatment. And the third is, of course, the diverse demand is happen every day in the home care, in the institution care. They require these care professionals more skill. They require these professionals more responsibility. But truly happen is they didn't give a well and training and give the expected. So actually, when we're dealing with such a kind of a balance between the demand of the clients, demands of these the aging institutions, and life quality and the working quality for the caregiver, we were difficult to figure out what is exactly so appropriate for the caregiver in the right salary, in the right economic status. So if you want to just increase more skill training for this caregiver, we need to think about what can we providing for them with a good quality of the working place. That's a key issue. The second one is when we're dealing with this kind of a training program, we have to think about the age of this caregiver. I don't know in other countries, but in Taiwan, most of the aging workers, they are more than 50 years old. They are difficult to learning something new. What they need is just give a quickly device, and they can just use and portable and reduce all any mistake happen when they're doing a care service. So in the other hand, the digital technology company, they want to make this on a digital device very powerful and can help all of integrate the data. But why is exactly caregiver they need it? So this is a big gap between the digital company when they innovate a new device, and why is the caregiver the gap? What is the exact need? We need about the government. We need about the aging institution. We need about educators to work together to figure out what is the scope of the caregiver in a digital life service skill training. That's the key issue. Now it just give a lot skill training, and but that is not what exactly want, and not exactly can help them to solve the problem, and especially not exactly to help them to just want to stay in this position, in this is a job. That is what we concern. So actually we have a lot of work to do in the future, how to just make the reality in the aging care worker problem can be solved in this follow with this digital technology be developing, and follow about this is digital environment can be just help in the aging care institutions. So actually, because I have spent a lot of time in my presentation in the previous, so I just want to stop it here. So if you have any question, we can just more discussion after. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Professor Lin. I personally sincerely hope that that all your questions can be answered, because I myself is approaching that stage, need a good quality caregiving. So yes, precisely, it's a holistic problem that we need social, economic, political solutions to the comprehensive environment for caregiving, not just the training itself. So I sincerely hope you can succeed, and I can enjoy the fruit of your research. Subsequently, it's more happy that I'm going to invite Professor Eric Zhuang Yaoyu 教授 from Dean of College of Biomedical Engineering, CMU, Chinese Taipei, who will bring us how technology can help us. Okay, Zhuang 教授, the floor is yours.
Okay, thank you, Professor Trong, for inviting me to join this panel discussion. I think I heard a lot from different speakers talking about this aging cares. I just want to tell you a little bit about over the past 3 years, actually, I spent a lot of time. I was actually, I became the dean actually just 6 months ago. So before that, I spent almost 3 years in the Industrial Technology Research Institute, one of the largest research institute in Taiwan, sponsored by the Ministry of Economic Affairs. So I actually led a team for like 10 different units, try to bring different technology or integrate different technology into the smart elderly cares. That's what I got involved with this. I think I'm gonna, because I apologize, I didn't prepare the slides. I wasn't say only 5 minutes. So I think I want to talk about the people. I mean the caregivers. I think Professor Lin just highlighted in Taiwan we are facing the young generation. They don't want to go this aging care industry. So most of our domestic home care givers are like middle-aged or even senior people. They taking care of seniors. So bringing technology into those people actually is quite challenging. Even though everybody using smartphone, but still they don't know how to do the record keepings. They don't use to. They maybe use that for communications. So actually, different technology actually can be bring in through the mobile devices. So that's an area. So and how can we? I'm going to talk about why young generation is not going to this aging care sectors because we don't have a good industry. As Professor Lin, the working environment is not very good, and then the pay may not be as good as they anticipated, and they don't see in the foreseeing future they have a good promotions. Okay, so I would talk about the business of what we did, try to promote this aging care society, and then to make it a good industry, hopefully in the futures. So people, I mean, we do have a lot of foreign laborers coming from overseas, like Vietnam, Indonesia, to help our senior people here. These are young generations. I'm sure they use smart devices to communicate with their family members back in home. Um, well, again, this is we are using Chinese mainly for a lot of, so even though those people, they can use those smart devices, but again, the interface for them, how to keep the records and how to maintain a good records, and it's quite challenging for them as well. So like for domestic workers and the caregivers, they having difficult because senior people, they don't know, or they kind of refuse to use this smart devices. But and on the other hand, foreign workers, they do love use this smartphones, tablets, computers. But again, this interface, some of them probably don't even speak good English as well. So it's difficult for these two groups of people having a good balance in terms of bringing new technologies. So that's, I think, one issue we have to consider this. And the second part I want to talk about is infrastructures. It's quite different. Even though we have a lot of, as you know, Taiwan is very strong in ICT industry. We have lots of different devices. So people are using this for different kinds of record keeping. For example, I think Professor Lee mentioned vital signs. Actually, you can have the wearable devices and then, recording your sleep and then your respiration rates, or even some, Apple Watch can even, having this your ECG when you have some, problem with that. However, aging people, they don't like new technology. From our experience, new people, they don't like to wear wearable devices. So we actually developed a lot of so you don't have to wear anything. So through Wi-Fi, through ultra wideband or even thermal imaging, try to monitoring to make sure that older people are safe or their health condition can be recorded through those kind of devices. So, like I say, at ITRI, Industrial Technology Research Institute, actually, I spend a lot of time. We establish a living lab and then try to set up the different scenario, maybe night care, daycare, home care, even institution care. What kind of technology we can bring in to reduce the caregivers their workload, and then try to improve the care efficiency. That's what we've been doing, and I'm hoping, because the COVID-19 pandemic, we actually was discussing, if we can have a visitor, those, speakers coming from overseas can pay a visit to that place. And then finally, I think my time is up. I want to say about, because I told you there's no incentive for young generation to get into this industry. So we are actually established we saw international consortium to, adding different companies and industry into the smart elderly care sectors. Okay, so far we have probably roughly around 30 members. We have people coming from the insurance company, because you do have some finance issues. We have people from home care. We have people from the hospital. We have people even coming from the nutrition companies. So you have to create a different integrations in order to make some money flow. And then maybe the young generation can come in to see, in the futures, they do have a chance to get promoted, or they have other opportunity through this, not just the pure caregiver. So that's why we are hoping maybe in the future, from different areas of APEC regions can join this international consortium. We call International Consortium of Smart Elderly Care. So, and then we will be happy to work with all of you, try to promote the business sense of, so in order to make this a real industry, and then it's a for-profit industry, so young generation can join. So sorry, I over time a little bit, and then I will stop here. Thank you.
No problem at all. We benefit greatly. Thank you, Eric. Eric reminds us that business model is also important. To have a lasting labor force dedicated for caregiving, you need to create the industry for it. So what are the suitable business model? And also tomorrow, this workshop will have a study tour to the demo site. Eric just mentioned in ITRI, which sadly can only facilitate the physical present participants. For the physical, for the virtual participants, we need to rain check on these visits. So Eric, if this happens, people will call on you. Please help.
Problem. Yeah.
Okay. So subsequently, I'm going to invite Mr. Songcha Jakarin, President of the Thai-German Institute, Thailand. Mr. Songcha.
Yeah, it's okay. Good
Okay.
afternoon.
Go ahead.
Yeah. Today I will present about for the next step beyond is competency-based training. For the next slide. The competency-based training is an individual education approach and career path training that focus on what an individual can do as a result of the training. Competency is the meaning is an attribute that is intrinsic to the individual in terms of the knowledge, skill, and attribute. The affecting expansion is variant situation which affect the performance of the profession. The competency component include the knowledge is specific knowledge of the person. The skill is what a person does well and practice regularly until they become proficient. The attribute is person's competency, which shows the way of behaving. The result of competency application is superior performance. For the next slide, the competency-based training framework is the process of determining the employee competence, starting with the process of analyzing the employee's competency gap according to the current competency level, then prepare the training development program and conduct a competency assessment process. For the next slide, in our training process, similar the process of the competency-based training, we starting from the finding the training needs analysis by doing the job analysis, task and KSA analysis, with the corresponding to the request employee competency. In this process is an important process of the training. We need get training needs and we design for the program and prepare the training and conduct the training, such as for the practice or theory, OJT or objective, which we will be depending on their need, and then evaluate and result of the training and the improvement training program for the next training. For the next slide, I will show for the competency T. The root of the T is the core competencies, which is derived from HR development process. When the employee have core competency, it will be work process. It is like a stream of the T that is core process in order to get output, and that is the core product. It is like the food of the T to generate income for the company. For the next slide, I will show for the process of the learning of Robert Gagne model. I will focus in the 9 events of instruction. The first T step is important to motivate the trainee to learn. That is the first is the gain attention. The second is the information of the learning objective. The third is for the stimulate recall of the prior learning. When the trainee have the learning needs, it's easier to provide the knowledge. In the next step, in the end, it has to access performance and transfer to another content. And the next slide, I will show for our learning factory model. Our learning factory model concept, we use the real case for the learning and have 3 pillars in the process. For the first pillar is solution finding, is the process of the analyzing the solution that company needs. For the second pillar is the dialectic. Dialectic is the process and the method of the training that the instructor will be is the facilitator. The last pillar is the manufacturing focus. We use case will be focused in the manufacturing process of the factory. All of the aspects will make the learning factory effective. In our process for the learning factory, we use for the training needs analysis, we use for the 5P. 5P is the pain point, purpose, potential, process, and product. After we get need for the training needs, we go to the learning course design and learning assessment. In finally, the next step beyond competency-based training will be an individual training. Learning must be continuous learning and flexible learning. The learning should be child-centered and learning change from the learn to know to learn how to learn and can apply to their job. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Jacqueline. I think we share similar mentality. So in earlier panelists has shared how we designed ADDIE from competency-based, how a caregiver should have certain kind of capability. I think they follow the basic line as you have described. I think Thai German Institute is famous for its practical focus that we thank for your participation and sharing. Finally, not the least, let me invite Ms. Yong Am Dong, Director of Department of General Economic Issues and Integration Studies, Central Institute of Economic Management from Vietnam. Mr. Dong, you may have the floor.
Good afternoon, good evening, and good morning from Hanoi. Thank you for the opportunity to speak today. And before I start, I would like to congratulate the Chinese Taipei for this initiative. I'm going to share a bit of my limited knowledge about the topics of digitalization skills for caregivers in Vietnam. And next slide, please. I think for the case of Vietnam, we all, in terms of policies, we always strive to promote the economic reforms so as to for two major objectives. The first one is to create broad-based economic opportunities for all groups, including the social groups and the marginalized one. And the other one is we aim to build capacity for them to realize the economic opportunities. And in the past few decades, Vietnam has experienced high GDP growth, and so we also had the rise of middle income group. So a lot of people like myself, I have to take care of my parents, but I face the issues of having like the opportunity cost of taking care of them became a lot higher, and so it's a natural demand that arises in Vietnam is that we need the caregivers, and I think compared to other Asian countries and economies, basically within in Vietnam we have a bit of difference because the caregivers can live with the same family, so that is a bit of difference that set out the demand for their skills, including the digital skills. Next slide, please. So in terms of the demand, we had we see that the population demographic structure in Vietnam is changing rapidly in the sense that we have the larger number of people under 14 years old and those over 60 years old. And we also face some reported health incidents for the older people. Like 10% of them have had heart attack, 25% had trouble falling into sleep. Next slide, please. And so why the digital skills for caregivers are important? Because on the one hand, they need to be able to work with both the young and the elderly people. And I think compared to the other economies, the requirement for Vietnam can be a bit different because the caregivers here in Vietnam, as they live in the same family with the both young and elderly people, they need to have a sort of like sufficiently diverse skills in terms of digitalizations to work with both the kids and the elderly people. And reportedly, we had around less than 13% of the old people have access to the internet, and each of them have spend on average about 2.3 hours per day. And the kids are more exposed to smart device and apps these days related to education and skill, education and games and skill building. And so it's a natural demand for the skilled caregivers to enhance their skills, because otherwise they can't work with the kids, they can't work with the elderly people either. Next slide, please. And there are other further push factors for the professional digitally enabled caregiving service in Vietnam due to, first, people have an improvement in the income, so they can afford more digital device and that's why the caregiver need to be able to use them. And also in major cities of Vietnam like Hanoi and Ho Chi Minh, the smart home start to get popularity, and we also have the rising interest of foreigners to come to Vietnam to enjoy the caregiving service. I think one of the speakers indicate earlier that about the demand for aged care in Japan, and actually a lot of Japanese people are coming to Vietnam because they think the cost of aged care in Vietnam are more affordable. And the other one is they can be exposed to a different culture while enjoying the caregiving service. But next slide, please. But in terms of the availability of the digital app, we had for the kids, there are an increasing vast array of the apps for kids, and so EdTech is rising so as to provide the skills and education related to STEM, English, and communications. There are also apps for the elderly people, but it is quite rare. And only in the first month of this year, we start to get the introduction of the S Health service. And S here means the silver or the silver economy. So you know that, and that is the first app provided for the elderly people, and it's still under development. Next slide, please. So next, in terms of training of digital skills for caregivers, I think we are still in the very primitive stage, and most of the trainings are provided by the health institutions, and the training curricula are very slowly adapted to the new context. And other new restrictions, such as the regulations on data, are still being under development. So when we talk about the use of digital device and digital communications, but the issues about data privacy, personal data protection is still something new. Next slide, please. And even awareness of the digital skills are very limited at the caregiving businesses, and most of them tend to focus on the skills to do the housework, including the use of modern household appliances. And some may develop the skills for education and first aid skills for caregivers, but they put very little emphasis on the digital skills. Next slide, please. And so we are struggling to face a number of issues. For example, when the caregivers take a look after the kids and the elderly people, they don't have the guidelines of to do or skills needed to work in the digital environment. For example, and that's why they need to talk to each other to find the experience, the best practice among themselves, rather than having adopted from the training. For example, whether it's acceptable to post a picture of the kids on the internet, like on Facebook, on Twitter, things like that. Many of the caregivers are still think that it's acceptable to do so until they are told that, okay, some of the strangers or some of the thieves may use the picture of the kids to show that they have connections with they have some relationship with the house owners, so they can get in, they can steal something and even do harm to the kids. So going into the future, I think we face the sustained demand for the caregiving service, and I think we aim to build more apps to support the caregiving service, and we'll continue to build awareness about the need for digital skills of caregivers. And the last one is that we also emphasize the issues of digital inclusion. And for this, I think we are changing rapidly in terms of awareness of inclusion. We cover not just the people in the remote and disadvantaged regions, but also those under the risk of exclusion in modern homes in the urban areas. So I think with that, I thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Mr. Dong. I always envy Vietnam has such a young population that seemingly the aging society is away from you. But still, caregiving is a serious business that we all need to think ahead. All participants panelists has shared their views. I sometimes feel that CBN is such an interesting platform that all APEC members change ideas here and promote common goods. Today, we are gathering here due to one APEC project. Now, let me invite the project owner, Section Chief Huang Zheshang, to say a few words for us.
Professor Zhang, thank you for the floor. As the project overseer, I'm truly appreciative of seeing an excellent turn-up rate to the workshop. 8 economies had nominated their representatives to share their experiences by all means about caregiver digital upskilling and health industry, showing that digital health is one of the key elements toward future prosperity. Once again, my special thanks to Australia, Brunei, Indonesia, Peru, the Philippines, Thailand, Vietnam, and Chinese Taipei. Another key output of the project will be the training package. And by gathering today's sharing, we may further perfect the design and be more productive and contributive to the region. In this hard time together, we may stride through again. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Huang. Thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, I believe this wraps up our very fruitful digital upskilling workshop. And of course, a wonderful moderation from Professor Zhang and a wonderful speech from Mr. Huang. And many thanks to our host, Workforce Development Agency of the Ministry of Labor. Thank you so much for this wonderful event. Ladies and gentlemen, let us work together for upskilling our future work. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us here today. And of course, COVID-19 is still ongoing. Please do take care of yourself and the family and the people around you. Thank you so much. Thank you.